Coming up on Cronkite News, an Apache group pleaded their case against the United States today to keep land that is sacred to them.
Plus, find out why the sauce has been a little sweeter for Valley Pizzerias after celebrity visit.
And later, she can throw a strike and sew a stitch. We'll find out more about this star Sun Devil.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Connor McGill.
And I'm Valeria Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us. An Apache group is battling a foreign mining company that wants to build one of the largest copper mines in the United States on what tribal members say is sacred land.
And they had another chance to make their point today. Cronkite News reporter Tabitha Bland tells us the arguments presented in the courtroom.
In Pasadena, California, the Apache Stronghold versus United States case was reheard. Apache Stronghold is fighting for the preservation of Oak Flat and the preservation of their religious practices. Oak Flat is an area of land in Superior, Arizona. Western Apache tribes consider this land to be sacred.
The current baseline, as we sit here today, the Apaches have a right to go onto Oak Flat, to access it and use it for their religious purposes. They've enjoyed that right by long custom. It is protected by executive order.
They claim that the use and destruction of Oak Flat is a violation of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Apache Stronghold sued the U.S. government over the act. The court does not agree.
If they kept the land and the government itself blew it up and made it impossible to access, that would be one thing. But it's the government's land, but they're going to give it over to somebody else, so it's no longer the government's land. That makes it a more difficult case, it seems to me.
In 2014, a bill ordered Oak Flat to be transferred to Resolution Copper Mining Company. Apache Stronghold has been fighting to preserve Oak Flat since the bill passed. This morning, the court did not come to a decision. Tabitha Bland, Cronkite News.
If they decide in favor of Apache Stronghold, the land will not be transferred to Resolution Copper.
And if the court rules in favor of the United States, it means that the land transfer does not violate the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. In this case, the mine would go into effect.
President Biden recently stated his plans to create national monuments in Nevada and Texas.
He will also create a marine sanctuary that is twice the size of Texas in the waters surrounding the Pacific remote islands southwest of the Hawaiian Islands. The Texas monument will protect cultural, historical, and scientific objects in El Paso, and the Nevada monument will encompass Avicagüe, a desert mountain sacred to Native Americans. President Biden spoke today about the significance of the sites he selected to serve as the newest national monuments in the U.S.
You know, it's a place of reverence, it's a place of spirituality, and it's a place of healing. And now it will be recognized for the significance it holds and be preserved forever, forever.
Governor Katie Hobbs toured the Tucson sector border with Secretary Alejandra Mayorkas of Homeland Security today. This morning, she attended the Arizona Border Counties Coalition meeting to hear stories and experiences from people who live by the border. In a tweet today, Hobbs claimed that hearing from those people was, quote, integral to understanding the challenges at the border so that she can bring real solutions to Arizona.
The World Baseball Classic has entered the final game as Team USA is set to take on Japan in Miami, Florida. Cronkite Sports reporter Jonah Krell is outside Chase Field. Jonah?
Yeah, it's been a thrilling World Baseball Classic so far, and what better way to close it out than with two international baseball powerhouses in USA and Japan. Now, that game is currently being played in Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida, but here at Chase Field, the Arizona Diamondbacks, they have their own connection with righty Merrill Kelly getting the starting pitcher nod for Team USA, and head coach Torey Lovullo for the D-backs, he's proud of his guy.
We are all going to be watching very closely. We are going to be cheering and rooting for Merrill, and it's an incredible accomplishment for him. He's ready for this challenge. He can jump into any environment and and execute pitches at a very high level. That's my scouting report on him, but I am so proud of Merrill.
Kelly went to high school in Scottsdale, played college ball at Yavapai College and ASU, and now with the Arizona Diamondbacks, he's never played in a postseason game in his career, so you can bet this is the opportunity of a lifetime for the Arizona native. At Chase Field, Jonah Krell, Cronkite Sports.
Thank you, Jonah. Now moving on to our next story here. The Valley certainly did a great job hosting the World Baseball Classic.
Sharing app TikTok recently hit 150 million users in the United States. Though this may seem for cause of celebration, there's controversy surrounding the app and its owners. TikTok is facing a full ban in the U.S. after President Biden signed a bill that banned the app from government devices. There are claims that company employees have spied on users, especially targeting journalists in the U.S. The Justice Department is currently investigating the CEO of TikTok as well as the Chinese company ByteDance that owns the app.
The CDC recently stated that Candida auris, a new fungus, is already considered antimicrobial resistant. This means that the fungus won't go away with typical antifungal medicine. Officials are concerned that there will be a rapid spread in healthcare facilities among very sick patients and or those who have invasive medical devices. According to CDC officials, this increase in fungal infections may have resulted from the strain the COVID-19 pandemic had on healthcare facilities. The scaffolding and banners from Super Bowl 57 are long gone.
But as James Powell tells us, one last economic wave from Big Game Week is hitting the Valley's restaurant industry.
Can a restaurant review on social media give a boost to a business? If it's from Dave Portnoy, it may. The Barstool Sports CEO has carved a niche reviewing pizza joints on YouTube, and with just under 550 million views, a review from him can change a restaurant's fortunes.
The sauce is a little sweeter for some pizzerias in the Valley of the Sun after Barstool Sports founder turned pizza critic Dave Portnoy released videos from his tour of restaurants during Super Bowl week.
If you're in the pizza business and you're attempting to market yourself at all, you're following Dave. You know, we were ready. You know, we watched, we knew, and we were waiting.
Portnoy visited 12 restaurants during the week, giving each a score from 1 to 10. And as you can see, most on this trip fared well. According to restaurant owners we talked to, the videos from Portnoy's visit have led to a post-Super Bowl business boom.
The next day was Friday, and lunch was probably a record Friday lunch by 30%. And then dinner started at 3. I mean, and it was Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, our delivery service, our online service. Phone did not stop ringing. We quit answering the phone.
We'd have people stop in, and still, I mean, even still, we're having people come in who are like, oh yeah, I saw you on, Portnoy's review. So definitely it hit, and it hit pretty hard, especially that first week after, I would say.
For mom and pop restaurants like Yo Polly's in North Scottsdale, the reviews bring awareness and business from well beyond their delivery range.
They were lining up at like 10:30, half hour before we even opened up. And people were driving in from all over, from Tucson, Flagstaff, and all over, to get the pies. And I was like, the whole dining room was completely full. It was completely overwhelmed. And we had lines out the door. We stopped answering phone calls. And, I think it was around 2 o'clock in the daytime is when we ran out of all of our product. Every pizza, all the dough we had. So we had to put signs on the door, turn people away.
The owners of the restaurants found that a goal came to fruition, and for some, a dream came true.
So when we decided to open up a pizzeria, our desire was obviously, man, wouldn't it be cool to get a review done?
No restaurant is paid for the reviews, and the owner of Hot Daisy Pizza on Roosevelt Row said that the business from the reviews helped her hire more people. In the newsroom, James Powell, Cronkite News.
In the 60s, farm workers in the United States protested for better working conditions.
But one farmer led the movement in order to make the change. Coming up, meet the man who was close to farmer worker turned civil rights activist Cesar Chavez.
Mostly clear skies are out there right now in the valley, but is there more rain on the way? Coming up, we'll have your weather update.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station. I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios. I'm Chef Mark Tarbell. I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please, Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
Northern Arizona is seeing a lot of snow, and it looks like a near whiteout with dangerous conditions in Flagstaff and the Grand Canyon. Portions of Yavapai and Coconino counties have a flood warning in effect until 7 p.m. today.
But here in the valley, we haven't seen nearly as much intense weather.
And Valeria, the question that everyone wants to know, are we going to see this spring storm stick around?
Ariana Araiza is in the Cronkite News Weather Center with our forecast.
Thank you. While today may be the second day of spring, we're still experiencing some winter weather. We're seeing temperatures hit 66 at 6 p.m., where we're going to see the clouds coming in, where it's going to have some showers at 9 p.m. and hit 64. You want to make sure you take those dogs out and bring a jacket because it's going to be very chilly tonight. We're seeing for our future cast that storm still affecting the valley, where throughout the night we're going to see it leaving the state by tomorrow, where it's going to leave us free of rain but with some cloudy skies. We're still experiencing very chilly weather, where tomorrow for our low temperatures, we're going to see a low 48 in Phoenix. We're up north, we're experiencing below freezing temperatures. We're going to see a low 19 at the Grand Canyon. We're over here in Flagstaff, it's going to be 17. On the west side of the state, 49 in Lake Havasu and 50 in Yuma. As it starts to warm up a little bit throughout the day, we're going to see a nice high 71 in Yuma, 66 in Lake Havasu. We're still going to be a little chilly with the 62 in Phoenix. Up north, still experiencing chilly weather with the 39 at the Grand Canyon, and that 17 jumps up to 35 in Flagstaff. For the next 8 days, we're experiencing roller coaster temperatures. Starting tomorrow, we're going to see it starting to warm up, where it drops down on Sunday and skyrockets into next week with some warmer temperatures. Let's go ahead and take a look at those numbers. We're going to see that high 62 tomorrow, sending us with a high 70 on Friday into the weekend, where we're going to see it drop down to 66 on Sunday, skyrocketing to next week with a high 79 on Tuesday, leaving us with that spring weather we've been waiting for. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Ariana Araiza.
Thanks, Ariana. In the 1960s, farm workers in the United States began to organize and fight for better working conditions.
Cesar Chavez, a farm worker turned civil rights activist, famously led this movement. Cronkite News reporter Rachel Fortunato tells us why Chavez's legacy is so important.
When Chavez started organizing events in Phoenix, Jose Cortez was one of the men in charge with protecting him. Most of those meetings happened here at Santa Rita Center. Cortez tells us how the movement and Chavez still impact his life today.
To help organize the farm workers, that, you know, was somebody that I wanted to be like, because I had already experienced all that he experienced. So needless to say, I started going to his meetings, following him, and I became one of his organizers. This was a man who lived a life just like mine. He was poor. He was a migrant farm worker. He had little education. He didn't make it past the 8th grade. Every time we had an event, he would always manage to weave education into his events. He knew how important education was to the farm workers. Just by being around him, I learned so much of his philosophy, his outlook on life. Cesar's philosophy was nonviolence. I mean, that was a given. Before we went in to be his bodyguard, he would say, look, this is my philosophy, nonviolence. You don't hit anybody. You don't put them in a headlock. He is definitely a hero because he had the courage to stand up to this huge political and labor machine. And he came up with a saying that said, once the social change has started, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate the people that have learned to read.
On Saturday, April 1st, the Center will be hosting a celebration for Chavez's birthday. Along with enjoying great food and music, you're encouraged to bring a book to donate. These books will later be given to kids because of the importance Chavez placed over receiving a good education. In Phoenix, Rach Fortunato, Cronkite News.
I'm Noelle Blumel. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. From the valley to the mountains, learn how one former Sun Devil is taking on the 2023 baseball season.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell. I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please, Arizona. Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Noelle Blumel. The Chicago White Sox hosted the Diamondbacks at Camelback Ranch on Monday. The D-backs secured a 7-3 win to continue their win streak. Star catcher Carson Kelly exited the game during the fourth inning after being hit by a pitch on his forearm by White Sox pitcher Gregory Santos. Kelly spoke with reporters after the game and stated he was experiencing significant pain. Manager Torey Lavello confirmed today in a press conference that Kelly suffered a fractured right forearm. With Carson out of the lineup, the D-backs could use Gabriel Moreno as the starting catcher. The Diamondbacks take on the Chicago Cubs on Thursday. She's a freshman who throws pitches for the ASU softball team and sews stitches in the fashion design program. Cronkite sports reporter Olivia Eisenhower profiles this Sun Devils student who's making a difference on and off the field.
The maroon and gold has always been in Sun Devil softball Kylie McGee's DNA. Three brothers that played baseball or football or both for the Sun Devils over the years led to many weekend trips to Tempe at a very young age.
I can just remember all the students, and I felt like they were looking at me even though they really weren't. And then the fireworks go off, and then you have Sparky running across the field, and that was just like the best time to me. Like I was like, I need to be in the student section when I'm older.
Her passions for softball and Tempe were paralleled at a very young age when she was introduced to fashion. Her dad showed her the fashion districts of downtown LA and the rows and rows of fabric. She hasn't looked back since.
I think it's a good balance. If I had a bad game, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have struck her out or something. And then I just go to my sketchbook and I'm just drawing and my head's completely off of it. I think I'm as competitive in fashion as I am in like softball.
Number 31 not only finds herself with ASU across her chest as a student athlete, but also student in the fashion program at Arizona State to further fuel her fire and impact others.
I love how her view on fashion and wanting to get in the industry is so actually like outward facing on wanting to, help others, make others feel beautiful. And when we had this prom dress drive, my first, kind of idea besides getting dresses donated was having somebody like Kylie actually get to make them from hand. It's such a great opportunity for her to be exposed, but also for the students of Lappin to get this handmade dress that's probably going to be by some world-renowned designer one day.
Lappin Sunshine Foundation CEO Jackie Vazquez Lappin is a former Sun Devil softball player as well, a member of the 2008 National Championship team. The foundation has many efforts similar to the prom dress drive that envisions a time when every student has the resources, support, and ambition to pursue their highest aspirations for academic and professional success.
All the Sun Devil greats, you look at Pat Tillman, they were unbelievable humans in the classroom, in the community, on the field. And she's just got that it factor that I believe that, people are born with.
The mound delivering strikeouts for the Sun Devils to making prom dresses and dreams a reality out of her own dorm room. Kylie McGee is a name to remember, just like the greats. From Tempe, Olivia Eisenhower, Cronkite Sports.
You can find more about Lappin Sunshine Foundation at lappinsunshinefoundation.org and catch the Sun Devils back home in Tempe on March 31st against University of Washington. MLB spring training brings a large population of big leaguers to the state. For one Colorado Rocky, spending time in the desert is anything but foreign. Our reporter Nick Hogan has more on the situation in Scottsdale.
The Colorado Rockies call Salt River Fields at Talking Stick home during spring training, but for catcher Brian Servin, calling the Valley home is nothing new. Servin was part of the Arizona State baseball program from 2014 to 2016, where he played in 162 games for the Sun Devils before being drafted in the 5th round of the 2016 MLB draft by the Rockies.
I think the ASU baseball program has always had a good reputation, and I think it does carry some weight.
During his 3 seasons as a Sun Devil, Servin was twice named first-team All-Pac-12. And since making his Major League debut last season, expectations have continued to grow for the former ASU standout.
I feel very comfortable with Brian behind the plate. All the aspects of catching, block, throw, receive, game calling, handling a pitching staff, being a good teammate, all those things in place.
Whether it was playing college ball at Arizona State or getting his first major league hit off of a former Sun Devil pitcher or spending his off seasons in the Valley, the list goes on and on when it comes to the connections between the state of Arizona and Brian Servin.
My first hit was actually off Trevor Williams, former ASU pitcher, and he sent over like a nice note the next day. He's a great guy, and I've gotten to know him, through Corey Hahn's Foundation, Project 34, and just being around ASU and being around the guys. And Trevor's great. But yeah, it was a cool experience, crazy, something to build off of.
Servin went on to produce 38 hits, including 6 home runs for the Rockies in 2022. With last season now in the past, Servin has his sights set on present goals.
First and foremost, make the team out of camp. That's the #1 goal. That's kind of my main focus.
In Scottsdale, Nick Hogan, Cronkite Sports.
Servin got off to a hot start in spring training after hitting a homer in his first at-bat of the spring. That's it for your Cronkite Sports Report. Back to Valeria and Connor.
Likely zoo animal is a first-time father.
You'll never guess how old this father is. After the break, why people are taking to the internet to celebrate this big deal in the animal kingdom.
Now streaming on the PBS app. The definitive collection of documentaries from award-winning filmmaker Ken Burns.
Hemingway, the man, is much more interesting than the myth.
It is a story that Americans have to reckon with.
He's got my job. I'm the champ.
Discover over 40 groundbreaking films that bring our history to life. Stream the Ken Burns collection now with Passport on the PBS app.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell.
I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please, Arizona. Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
The Houston Zoo is home to an unlikely first-time father.
Mr. Pickles, the 9-year-old tortoise, just had 3 babies with his partner, Mrs. Pickles. The 3 new tortoises are named Dill, Gherkin, and Jalapeno, perfect for the Pickle family. Though it wasn't expected for Mr. Pickle to have kids at his age, officials at the zoo are glad he and Mrs. Pickles were successful. The Pickle family are eradicated tortoises, and they are currently critically endangered, so the Pickle family has done their part to help with the growth of their species. That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.